This video discusses how to generate random numbers in Python. There are several built-in methods. One is called random, rad, int for integer, sample, choice, rad, range, uniform, shuffle, and seed. The ones that we're going to look at for all practical purposes are the random, the rad, int, and rad range. In Python, one of the first steps you would have to take is import the random library. So you would type import random, n is equal random dot random open close parentheses, and we would print n. If we were to do that, it's going to give you a random number in terms of a float. So the one method is to use the random function from the random module that generates a random float value in the range 0.0 to 1.0. That's what happens. And so let's demonstrate this in using the actual Python. So we'll say import the random library, and I'll skip a line down here, and then I'll say n, that's just any arbitrary variable that I'm thinking of, is equal to random dot random open close parentheses. Now if I go in, and I'm going to make this a little bit different, I'll say print, and I'll use f string, and it's equal to, and I'll just say n, and we'll just run the program. I'll just say n random function demonstration. Okay, so before I do anything else, I want to make sure I say import random, and now we will run the program. And it is going to generate a random float value in the range 0.0 to 1.0. And so in this case, it gave me 0.532753839923896. And I believe that's 15 positions. Actually, there are 16 places, so it's that accurate. If I were to run the program again, let's say run, it'll generate another number between 0.0 and 1.0. So that's one. You notice it's generating float values ranging between 0.0 and 1.0. So what have we done first? We imported the random module of Python. That's where you see import random. Then we call the random method to get a random float between 0 and 1 and store it in a variable called n. We print the random number, we print the randomly generated number. Now, you notice that we say method. Random is the module that we imported, and within it, it has a built-in function. A method is a special function that uses the dot notation where we have to name the actual module where the function is stored. So that's why you see random dot random open close paren. The next example that we're going to use is the rad int method. The random module also provides a rad int method to generate an integer number within a specified range. Let's understand how to generate random numbers in Python with the range. And we're going to look specifically at an integer generation. So the function takes two numbers as arguments, min, comma, max, defining the lower and the upper limit of the range. Let's look at the following example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in N2 rather than, because we already use N here, and I can just change this to N1. It doesn't matter what we call it. But whatever we do, we need to be consistent. So N2 is equal to random.rad int, and we're going to use the F string, and we'll say N2, and I better put N1 here since I changed this variable in my first example. N2 is equal to N2. So let's run the program and see what happens. And I probably need to say print F string using the random method on this one. And here I'll put in a blank statement so everything doesn't just pile up on each other. I'll put 2 blank statements. Using a semicolon allows us to add more than one instruction on a same physical line. So this tells the computer to make 2 blank lines. Okay, and here I'm just going to say print F string using the rand int method. And you will probably or more than likely use these more than any of the others. So let's take a look at that, and we're going to run the program. Just before we run this program, we do need to use 2 arguments. One is minimum, one is maximum. So we will add that first. Okay, so let's run the program. And you will notice that on the first one we use the random method. It generates a floating value between 0.0 and 1.0. And the next one generates, and I'll place this side by side. The next one generates a number between 0 and 100 using the rad int method. N2 is equal to 70. And if I run it again, it's going to generate different values. Let's do that again so you can see that. First, for the floating number, it created the number, or chose rather the number 0.326699483410646. And the one that chooses a whole number between 0 and 100, in this case it was 70, in this case it was 34. So if we were to write a program that asks a user to guess a number, a whole number between 0 and 100, this would be the method that we would want to use. And if you were playing the guessing game, the user would have to be prompted to enter a number to guess, and it would compare it against this number here to see if we guessed it. And that is what one of our assignments is going to focus in on. However, I wanted you to make sure you understood random number generators. Now, again, there are others we had talked about. There's all of these here. I just want to focus on a few of these, and then we'll talk about the others in another video.